Okay, so now we go to the part for consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so why we have consolidated e-invoice? Okay. The reason is when I mentioned to you just now, when starting, they announce, okay, our Prime Minister announced e-invoice, everybody got panic, right? So if I like selling kuih or I selling the roti canai, I'm not going to issue. It's sometimes roti canai maybe they are annual turnover more than 150K. They have to issue invoice, but you cannot ask them to everybody issue invoice, right? Tak ada masa lah. So there is a solution for this scenario. So how? You no need to issue invoice for all transactions. You consolidated, you combine. Like for example, 1 month, berapa jualan for that itu bulan, combine, you issue satu saja invoice. That is called consolidated invoice. Okay. And this consolidated invoice, dia bukan invoice yang lain. Okay. Like for example, you recall just now this morning, I mentioned to you, under E-Invoice, there are 4 types of document. Invoice, CN, TN, refund note. Okay. And we have also self-bill E-Invoice, self-bill credit note, self-bill debit note, self-bill refund note. So 4. Okay. So consolidated akan menjadikan kesembilan tak tahu. So consolidated e-invoice is actually under e-invoice, the number one. So if you go to my invoice portal, you want to issue document, there are 8 selection for you only. 8 jenis sahaja. 4 normal, 4 self-bill. Okay. So consolidated invoice design is to cater the situasi macam I mentioned just now lah, buat burger kat malam, pasar malam ke apa-apa. Okay, you use consolidated invoice. Okay, I mentioned just now accumulated. Okay, photo invoice during a period, combine them into only one invoices. That period, you no need to issue, no need to follow like 1 month one time. 1 month, you can like, I want to combine my weekly sales into one consolidated invoice, can or not? Can? Jadi satu bulan I ada 4 invoice normally lah, sebab for weeks lah. Okay. Sometimes 1 month we have 5 weeks lah. Okay, never mind. So you want to issue weekly, can. You want to issue every 3 days, can or not? Yes, can. A period of time, during a period, can. Okay, but you need to make sure, okay, the consolidated invoice every month, all the receipt are captured already. Okay, and the last invoice, last consolidated invoice, you have to submit latest. This is the latest date, which is 7 days. Later I will show you. Okay. Who can issue consolidated invoice? When the buyer, they're not going to request e-invoice from you, then you can combine and jadikan dia consolidated e-invoice. Okay. If the buyer requests e-invoice, you have to issue e-invoice. You cannot say customer come and buy something and he requests e-invoice. You say no, I cannot issue e-invoice to you. I want to do console. No, you have to issue e-invoice to him. If he say no need, okay, I don't issue invoice to you. But then after that, every month you need to console it into one invoice. Okay. Later I will have example for you or better understanding. Okay. So if the customer he don't want invoice, you have to issue what? Issue receipt for him. So two document. One is invoice, another one is receipt. Okay. Let's say you doing the cashier at the counter. The buyer come, he say, boss, you want invoice or not? Okay, he say, no. Okay, tak apa, I bagi you receipt. So you must give something, you cannot say, receipt pun tak boleh. Either I give you invoice or I give you receipt. This is the receipt. Tak ada QR code punya, so this is not invoice, this is only receipt. Okay, so time to submit consolidated invoice is the 7th day after month end. Maksudnya, okay, for this month is April. So April you do consolidate, you will have sales. So all the sales in April you need to consolidate and submit by 7th of May before. So even though you issue like weekly one, I mentioned, the fourth week, okay, you need to submit letters by also next month 7. Okay, you understand? Okay, there are two methods to submit, to do the e-invoices, okay, consult invoice, or we can say two ways to present your e-invoice. Okay, actually it's present. How you present? You want to present your consult invoice in a list of receipt or in a summary of receipt. Okay, like this you will have to imagine and show you in the picture. Okay. Of course, within the 7 days. Okay. So list of receipt is like this. 1, 2, 3. Every single receipt you show. Any receipt, rubber. That receipt, how much? One by one. Okay. If summary of receipt, you can like series a number. From number 1110 to 1112, total how much? Then from how much? From the receipt, this is the receipt number. From how to how, to what, then total is what? Okay, this is a summary. Okay, you look at this invoice, you will ask, you can see this number or not? 1112, and then jump into 1114. 1113, another missing. Okay. Then 1114, then 1115, missing. 1116. Right? Okay. As I mentioned just now, if the customer requests e-invoice, you must give him e-invoice. If you don't want, then you should receipt. So 1113, 1115 is a transaction already issued e-invoice. So when you do console e-invoice, you have to take up that receipt already given e-invoice. So I mentioned just now. Issue consolidated invoice for uninvoiced transaction. Because you will have two transactions. One is already invoiced, and one not yet invoiced, you only give receipt. Okay. Don't worry, I only direct you. And this is the thing you need to fill in when you're doing consolidated invoice. Later I will have a visualized illustration for you. I print screen from the My Invoice portal how to fill in this one. But now you learn first time. Okay. Because consolidated invoice is for a lot of transactions. So you don't have a particular name. You just in general public. Okay? General public, and you cannot use another word already. This is a fixed word, general public. And then T number, this one, fixed one. This is a general thing. General T number. Okay. Then other information, semua NA, NAIC code, 0005. Okay. NA classification, 004. This is fixed one. Classification is the 45 classification. 004 is only used for consolidated invoice. Okay. You can see this 4 item in red color. This is a fixed word. You just key in this fixed word into consolidated invoice. Exactly the same. No need to change. Okay. So the monthly routine is the first one. Okay, you at the counter, the customer come and buy things. You need to ask customer. Hi, you want e-invoice atau tak bayar? You ask first. Then the customer answer you. Okay, requires. Okay, so the answer say, the customer say, yes, I want e-invoice. So you get the TIN number. Kalau tak ada TIN number, you get the IC number. You issue e-invoice. Okay. So if the customer say, tak bayar, I don't want e-invoice. So what you give? You issue receipt to the customer. Any receipt. Okay. So end of the month, and before the 7th day of next month, you issue consolidated invoice. That's an invoice transaction. Means that your console invoice only include the transaction here only. You take up those transactions you already issued invoice. Understand? Here only you issue console invoice. Here only. Okay, this is an example. Okay, the first one is, I think it's City. Go and buy handphone. Okay, and she buy handphone and she requests e-invoice. So So at point of sales, okay, this person asks for the PIN number. Say City is so good, he have two number already. So she give the both number to the counter, and the counter receive the payment NT number, IC NT number, and submit to my invoice portal, and then he will receive the notification and get the validations, e-invoice, and pass to the City. This is the cycle. So customer request invoice after few days of transaction. Can or not? Okay. Means that at point of sales, okay, just help me out an example. Okay. City cutter, prepare invoice. Okay. But when she go home, regret. Actually I want invoice. So can she request invoice after that? Can. But need to before the month end. Before month end, literally, means kalau April, she have to request before end of April. Last day is 30th April. It's not calculated by 30 days. Not 30 days. It's follow that month. Okay. So, if request before month end, get customer details and issue e-invoice. Okay. If request in subsequent month, closing to next month, even though it's 1 day, 30th April, you buy something, 1st of May, you want to request for e-invoice, already cannot. You know why? Because next month, they want to do consolidated invoice and submit within 7 days already. So it's already crossed the door. So the month end is the deadline to request for invoice. Okay? So business that cannot issue consolidated invoice. Okay? Not all the business okay. This means that sometimes because of businesses, even though the customer pay the money, the customer say, I don't want invoice, don't give me invoice, give me receipt. But the business say, no, cannot. I want to give you e-invoice because I cannot issue consolidated invoice. Okay, what is the industry? First one is automotive, means car seller. Okay, luxury goods and jewelries. Later I will have a detailed explanation to you. Okay, construction materials. Okay. Payment to agent. Betting and gambling. Construction contractor and aviation. Okay, I will go through one by one for you. Automotive means sell any car. Okay, you go to buy car. Okay, sometimes for the rich people they want to buy a luxury car or Lamborghini number. Okay, the money maybe not so clean. So you guys say, car seller, don't issue invoice to me. I don't invoice. The car seller say, sorry, cannot. I must issue invoice to you. Please give me your PIN number. So the government knows this fellow so making money. So rich one can buy this car, sport car. So this is the reason. They want to fix some industry cannot do consolidated invoice. You must issue e-invoice. So aviation, okay, flight ticket and private charter. So rich you want to go overseas, you don't want to buy Asia, you don't want to go Mars, you chartered a private to jet private go to overseas. So that airplane company need to issue invoice to you. You cannot deny. Construction contract, of course, construction contract you need to issue invoice because maybe the rich people they want to build one bungalow or a few millions bungalow. Say, hey, I want invoice, don't give me. Sorry, you have to give. Okay, wholesaler and retailer of construction materials. Okay, this is quite complicated. Okay, sale of construction materials regardless of volume sold. Okay, it's not until you go to this is a very good example but there's a lot of argument. We still don't know how we have to tackle this kind of scenario. Like you go to the blacksmith shop, you want to buy just one nut or one screwdriver. Okay, it's a construction material. What? Yes, construction material. But regardless of volume, you just buy one. Then you cannot just buy and then ask for receipt only. No, you have to give details, and the seller need to issue invoice to you. Okay. This is very troublesome. So the construction materials, no, is not all materials. You need to check under the fourth schedule of the Lembaga Pembangunan Industri Pembinaan Malaysia Act 1994. Okay, so for those who selling this construction material, they need to check very carefully each item. Wow, this is under the act, this is not under the act. It's a lot of things to do. Okay. Luckily, we are not in that industry. Got anyone? No one? Got no. But you are not selling the material, you buy the material. Okay. Luxury goods and jewelry details. Okay. For this 5, 6, 7 is not finalized yet. Means that from now they still can do console E-Invoice. Still can. But later, sooner, I don't know when, the law will change. Okay? They already put here. These 3 industry is going to be issued E-Invoice mandatory, cannot skip. But now at the moment, still can skip first. Okay? Sorry. Still, the details not yet finalized. It means that you go to Popong, you buy jewelries, wow, a lot of money, I want to buy gold. Okay. You want to keep a secret? I don't issue E-Invoice. The show will say no, I have to issue E-Invoice. Give me your IC number. Okay. But now still can. Now you know to give IC still can. But later cannot. Okay? This one is not relevant. This one also the sale bill, this one payment to tax payment to agent, commission, right? Also to be sale bill. So this one you don't need to care. Okay? So this 14 is to take attention. Okay? This is consolidated E-Invoice. Okay. You learn about sale bill E-Invoice just now. Now you learn about consolidated E-Invoice. Consolidated E-Invoice and sale bill E-Invoice cannot combine. It's 2 different things. Okay? Sale bill is you buy from purchaser. Purchaser cannot issue invoice to you, then you sell bill. Okay, you can say, oh, I sell bill, very troublesome every time I need to sell bill. I one time sell bill, everyone cannot. Okay, it's mutually exclusive, cannot do it one time. But there are 4 scenarios. You can do consolidated sell bill E-Invoice. The first one, okay, only the first one is quite relevant to SME company. Otherwise, it's not. Okay. Transactions with individual non-business. Section F. The section person. Okay. Let me ask you, right? If today you are doing business, okay, you've got a supplier. Is your supplier doing business also? Yes. In what scenario, what situation, your supplier is not in the business? Got or not? Reseller, okay. I only think of one scenario lah. Okay, today you were doing the old newspaper, collect old newspaper, and you're doing the recycle one. Okay, you tahu tak itu old newspaper kan? There's satu body. Okay, from where he collect the paper? From house to house. Is that every house doing business? No, right? Mostly they are not doing business, right? So it's under category F. So your supplier is not doing business one. Yes, for this kind of scenario. But besides that, normally, like you trading company, you do what business also. Your supplier must be doing business one. So that scenario you cannot do console E-Invoice. If you are doing the recycle, your supplier is the real one. Everybody is not doing business. Okay, then you can do console E-Invoice. So it's very niche. It's not everyone can apply. Okay, then second thing, lagi tak apply, bank saja yang apply. Sebab bank tak payah issues sell bill everyone kan, dia console, bank okay. Dan satu lagi, ini insurance company can, insurance company can too much claim, so cannot one by one itu console. It's not applicable to us. The last one is also not so applicable. It's like you have the overseas branch, okay, to do the business for you. So overseas, because overseas not practice E-Invoice, so they're not going to have E-Invoice. You need to sell bill, so you can use console sell bill. Okay. Branches or offices. The company still here, Kalau if the company is like incorporate the company to overseas, so it's not your branches, it's another company. So the difference is here. So it's also not so applicable. Okay. Okay. Now we do the case study. It's quite interesting. A customer dined at a restaurant. Okay. In 1st of July 2020, and indicated during payment that he did not require invoice. Okay. So not require invoice, the restaurant will give him receipt. Okay, on 25th July, the customer changed his mind and requires an invoice. The customer provides the receipt and asks for an invoice. Should the restaurant issue an invoice to the customer? Yes. The reason is request an invoice within the same month. Okay. Scenario 2, I think you can answer also. Okay. The key thing is it requires after July already, 1st of August. Even in the 1st of August, okay, you go and request for the e-invoice. The restaurant can issue will the restaurant issue e-invoice? Actually, it's optional. The restaurant, because it's 1st of August, the restaurant maybe not yet do the console e-invoice, right? Because it's 7 of the month, okay, only 2. Maybe the restaurant is so good that this is for customer, so it requires an invoice. Okay, I give okay. If the customer is unknown person, just reject saja. So actually the answer is can refuse the request. Can, you can accept, you can reject. But after 7 kali bulan, you cannot really, you must reject. Okay. So you just reject . Okay, for consolidated invoice, any question? Alright. So now we'll take 5 minutes break.